Sounds pretty awesome. Meanwhile, NASA's excited about the eclipse because it's a chance to study the sun's corona. The sun's corona. And that's the outer edge, of course, of the sun.
Zac and Jamie are joining us again now from the outskirts of Hopkinsville, Kentucky, where the nation's space agency sent a team. What are you guys seeing?
All right, guys, I got to tell you, it is seriously noticeably more dimmer out here. It's not like a twilight or anything. It's dimmer, and it is cooler. It is very comfortable. It's really weird. Hey, I got to tell you, NASA's RV is right over here. Of course, it's just like ours. Actually, no, it's not. It's more like a bus. It's got some cool astronomy equipment, and they've got some awesome telescopes set up.
Yeah, so earlier you saw Amani out there at the planetarium. She had some cool telescopes and speaking to some experts. Earlier, we got to speak to a NASA expert, Dr. Renee Weber, and this is what she had to tell us about the eclipse. We're here with NASA scientist Dr. Renee Weber. Now, Dr. Renee, so NASA is out here especially for the eclipse. Can you sort of tell us a little bit about what they're expecting? What is the main thing that they're focusing on with the eclipse?
Sure. A lot of scientists are really excited about this chance to look at the sun because during an eclipse we have a unique chance to see the sun's corona, which is the outer atmosphere of the sun, which normally isn't visible because the bright regular visible light from the sun is so overpowering. But when the moon moves in front of the sun and blocks all the visible light, you have a chance to see this corona. So there will be scientists across the continent who are going to be pointing video cameras and pointing specialty cameras and telescopes at the sun so that they can take images of the sun's corona.
Yeah, and how many scientists does NASA have out across the country? Is it from West Coast to East Coast? I mean,
Oh, definitely.
You guys stacked everywhere?
Yeah, just within our group, we've got a dozen spread across the country, and we're just one NASA center. So there are probably hundreds altogether who are really excited about this chance. Even some people will be flying in specialty aircraft that have special windows where you can mount scientific equipment in the window, and it allows you to have a couple extra minutes of totality instead of what you would get if you were stuck on the ground.
And in terms of resources, like you were saying with the planes, how much resources are NASA and the world sort of throwing at this eclipse?
I really don't know. I mean, it's a lot. We are just spread out all across the country, and we have all of our equipment with us, and we're really taking advantage of this unique opportunity. And
they're calling Hopkinsville the area with the greatest totality. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so here in Hopkinsville, or outside the city of Hopkinsville in Kentucky, we are at the point of greatest eclipse, which is a point in time where the axis of the moon's shadow is pointed most directly at the center of the Earth. So it is when the shadow is the most circular. So when it comes in the country in Oregon, it's more elongated, it's kind of an ellipse. And again, when it leaves the country in South Carolina, again, it's an ellipse. But when it's here in Hopkinsville, it'll be close to a perfect circle. And it gives us about 2 minutes and 40 seconds of totality.
And in terms of viewing the eclipse with the naked eye or glasses, who can and cannot look at the sun?
So you should never look directly at the sun unless you're wearing approved safety glasses, which filter out all of the harmful radiation that can actually damage your eyes. And during totality, if you are in the path of totality and you have already seen Bailey's beads, you have already seen the diamond ring, and you have seen the sky get dark, it is safe to look at the eclipsed sun and the corona without glasses, but you just need to be paying careful attention to the time so you know when you need to put them back on.
All right, and one last question. Again, we're bringing the path of totality back to our viewers in Central Texas. We're going to be able to show them that. Our viewers back home, they're going to be seeing about 69–70%. What can they expect during the eclipse back there?
So you'll get to see a really neat crescent sun, which looks like a cookie with a bite taken out of it. And at that percentage, it's probably not going to get appreciably darker. So you'll need to always keep those glasses on again and just look at it. Or you can build a pinhole projector to look at it, projected onto the ground or a piece of paper.
Yeah. And in terms of like darkness, what's the darkness going to be like here compared to say back in Waco, which will be about 70–80%?
So anywhere that's less than like 95%, you're probably not going to notice an appreciable difference in the amount of daylight. Once you start getting in the high 90s, it may get a little dimmer, and only when you're in totality will it get dark.
And now, will it get dark, or are we talking like sunset?
Well, I've never actually seen it before, but I've heard that it gets dark.
And in terms of people
the stars will come out dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And in terms of people wondering, are dogs going to start going to sleep? Or, you know, I've even heard things about pregnant women shouldn't look at the sun at all, this sort of stuff. Can you sort of dispel any sort of like wives' tales for us?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff out there. Dogs, your pets, you don't really have to worry about. They already know not to look at the sun. I mean, your dog goes out in the yard every day and you don't think twice about it. There's nothing really different during an eclipse in that regard. However, animals like birds and crickets and farm animals will experience sort of an interruption to their day. It kind of throws off the natural circadian rhythms and causes them to think that it's time to go to bed. So birds will fly back to their roosts, and the crickets may come out and start chirping, and mosquitoes may come out and start biting you. So when the sun comes back out 2 minutes and 40 seconds later, it's going to be really confusing for them.
All right, so awesome. Again, we're talking with Dr. Renee Weber with NASA. Doctor, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
My pleasure.
Now, if you think NASA was excited, and we're excited,
We are.
you should see the fans out here, because people even flew from outside of the country, from everywhere.
Yeah, and we're going to be introducing you to some of them coming up here after the break. Guys, I got to tell you, we're about less than 6 minutes out. Everyone's getting giddy.
It looks cool.
Chris and Leslie, back to you guys.
Looks like so much fun.
They're having a good time. This is what we sent you for, guys. Bring it home. This is it. Okay, more Eclipse show right after